Jim, Doug Cass, one of our Real Money contributors, called a bottom recently, and
Amazing.
I'm crossing my fingers. I want him to be right.
Well, you know, sometimes what you have to do, Deborah, is say, what's his record in terms of going against the grain, right? And one of the things that I seize on is that he saw a lot of things coming that other people didn't.
The housing collapse.
Right, the collapse of the hedge fund industry, the collapse of Fannie and Freddie and Washington Mutual. So a guy who saw things coming when no one else did is a guy who may see things coming that no one else does. Now, that's not the same as watching a card game and seeing a guy who's getting 2 blackjacks and then putting money on him because you think you get a 3rd blackjack. The cards have no memory, but Doug Cass does, and so do I.
And he's been doing this a while.
Right. And he always, he has a variant view. Now, Doug's bias, and I've known Doug for, 15 years, has always been short. So for him to have this long bias and talking about a generational bottom is, it's shocking to me. It's shocking because I only know Doug is scalping a few points on the upside and then going right back to being a bear. So I'm trying to highlight his call everywhere, not because I think that it was a great call, but that it continues to be a great call.
And some of the other signs of bottoming are when stocks have bad news and then they don't collapse.
Right.
They tend to either go sideways
Absolutely, Deborah.
or even maybe rally a little.
Well, I mean, look, FedEx, man, it didn't go down even though they cut guidance. But I think the more important one is Dan D'Amico's Nucor call. Dan D'Amico had been on my show, Mad Bunny, maybe a month ago, saying that, listen, we're down to 50% of capacity, but we'll still make money. And then a month later, it's at 40% capacity, and he's losing money. He makes the call at 35. Stock quickly drops to 31, and then is at 38 at the end of the week. Now, how did it get to 38? Some of it's the weak dollar, but some of it is a belief that when you get to 40% production cut, now you're starting to talk about very close to the Great Depression, where it was at 20, we only got to 25% production. And I sit here and I think, it isn't as great as the Great Depression. It may be the second depression, but not as great as the Great Depression. And people are saying, a la Doug Cass, that it can't get worse because we are now right where the Great Depression was.
We've gone to the end of the cliff, and
it's very hard. I mean, the Great Depression had a lot of things going for it that in terms of the terrible that we don't have now. So I think that when you get stocks that have retreated as much as they did during the Great Depression on fundamentals that are not as bad as the Great Depression, then I think you get this possibility that Doug could be very right.
All right, let's hope he is right.
Yes.